Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to KingPittdawg Racing. I am Kevin. We're just going to verify that this is going without a hitch here. I had my first issue with the mic the other day. Of course, the biggest event of the year so far. So we're just going to get logged in here to YouTube and just make sure we're not getting any static here. So bear with me just a minute. Sounds good. So I guess we're good to go here. Welcome, everyone, tonight. This is just a preview video of what we're going to do tonight. Tonight here for the next few hours, we're going to be going over, we'll be playing the replays of the lobbies for events 1 and 2. We're trying to get at least through event 1 tonight. We may wait till tomorrow to broadcast event 2, but I am planning on possibly coming on and hosting an open lobby event this weekend, so everybody stay tuned for that. First off, though, I want to go through the points that we had for Event 1. I am overhauling how I'm doing the listing, so I apologize to everybody for not being able to get you everything out, and I want to be able to get this. I'm working on trying to get this into a format where I can just upload it as soon as I'm done with all the points. But Event 2, pretty eventful, fun event, I thought. We were at Daytona, and we started off for the, we did the qualifying night MRQ for the RJP Memorial, Randall J. Pitterly Memorial, my father who passed away in December. The RJP Memorial 400K, the inaugural one we had, and we started off, as all of our HECS events now are, we started off with qualifying heat race, or what I call MRQ night, main race qualifying, and we started off by qualifying here in the Craftsman trucks. Then these are our trucks, as you can see there on the screen there. We went one make on this because we couldn't get the Raptor up to speed again. We only have the two trucks to choose from. We may have to make this anytime we drive these Craftsman trucks until they do a better job in the game here. Trying to balance these out. So it may be better at road courses, so we'll test that out. But we ran qualifying, one truck at a time out on the track, qualifying, and then qualifying heat race 1 in the Craftsman trucks here, and then qualifying heat race 2 we ran in the Cup cars, which is cars that we developed. These are all cars that we developed here under the HECS. Which is my invitation-only series that I administer and created. And we went to the 2 heat races in the Cup cars after the Craftsman truck race, and that was done after a die roll invert. So the average of those 3 finishes set the starting point for our main race, which was technically 1 race, but we ran it as 3, considering we ran and considered the first 2 races as stages. We had a 60-lap stage here, a 40-lap stage 2, and those were paid with bonus points at the end. And of course, you get the cash in the game, the credits in the game. And then we ran our 25-lap sprint race for all the points there as our final stage. And that paid the final standings, which was won by Zippy McGee in the same Alpha that I was running here. But I did change gearing. I did allow gear changes between stages, and I made the wrong decision in the final gear, trying to make sure I could get to the finish, and I just couldn't keep up with the draft when I would get back in the back of the pack. So lost the draft a couple of times until some cautions. And I just couldn't quite get up there at the end to get caught up. So that was what happened. But with what we had happen, I'm going to kind of review here the standings here on the races. We had, again, qualifying. The fast time was set by JT. And he scored the full 10 points for qualifying. And then he also won qualifying heat race 1. So that was a so we can actually go in there, because I don't have qualifying on this, but we did have this is the final lineup, as you see on the side there. That's where everybody finished in the qualifying heat race 1. With Casper finishing second, and myself third, Logan, it lost it, there we go. Logan, the animal, there in the 91, and Adam in the 76. Then it was Demon, Demonetized Vet, 5, John, Hendrickman, Steve, our champion, PRG M. Berg, and then our first season champion, Nook Holmes, in the number 3, and then it was Eric Carson, Makoto Kobayashi, and then we had a DNF there with Keith in the 54, and he did not participate with us the rest of the night. There was a little bit of a dispute there. We had a couple of issues with, we were running cautions in the race, so we had a little bit of an issue with some people not quite understanding what was going on there, but going forward, because of the issues we had, anytime anybody spins on the track during a yellow, you're going to the back of the pack. There's going to be no getting back up in your spots. I don't care. We're dealing with issues with upload and things like that, but we had an issue there in the middle of the race, and I've addressed this already, where Keith went down below the yellow line, which is out of bounds, got underneath another truck, and then tried to come back up, lost control, hit the front of another truck and went up into the wall, then proceeded during the caution to go back up and take his spot. So that there would have been a DQ because he didn't follow the rules. And then the second time he did it again and tried to get his spot back, and we said, no, you were spun, you have to go to the back, and then he just quit. So it's unfortunate that nobody really could understand what his position was on that except Keith. So I don't know where that came from. I mean, it's pretty straightforward if you're in a caution, involved in a caution, that you go to the back. And I think Keith thought it was a glitch. Or a thing, but that's what we deal with. Okay, it's no different than somebody's tire coming off and flying and hitting your car and knocking your tire out, or spinning you out. It's the same situation. We're dealing with e-games here, so we have to deal with that. So going forward, anytime you're involved in the caution, you go to the back, unless you blend in ahead of people that are like already a lap down or whatnot. But the rule is going to be, if you're part of the caution, you go to the back. Now, cars that don't completely spin out and bounce off the wall and stuff like that, if you can get back up into your place, that's fine. But if cars that spin into the infield or whatnot, or even off track and hit the wall and get into other cars, that causes the caution. You're going to go to the back, and there's going to be no gray line on that. It's like the whole BS with the NASCAR race the other day with Denny Hamlin jumping the start. They should have waved off the flag and told him, you got one more chance, and if you do it again, you're disqualified. You're going to the back. But no, NASCAR with their inconsistency. So we're going to be consistent from now on. If you're involved in the caution, there is a blend in if you can get in and ahead of some other people, but I also want, because we're not using ghosting, I want people to be careful. So we're going to keep addressing this, and we'll evolve as we go through, but there's not going to be any of this getting your spot back if you're part of a caution. I don't care what the cause of it is if you're part of the caution flag when we're running cautions. And again, we have to administer those on the fly, so it's impossible to review this stuff during the race. But I would have had no choice if Keith would have continued on with that race. When I reviewed it, I would have had no choice but to disqualify him anyway, at least to the end of the first one lap down, because he took a spot that after he caused a caution. So again, that's going to be black and white. We're not going to have any question about it. Again, the only question going to be is where you blend in if somebody's way back, because if somebody's like a lap down and they're getting their lap back, then you can be in front of them, but somebody getting a wave around. But if that's not the case, then you got to go to the back, and I don't care what it is. If we're going to be pretty firm on that. So, all right, so that's the end of qualifying heat race 1, and then we went into qualifying heat race 2. And I'll just go, I'm going to try to move faster through this, but I did want to address that situation because I don't want people upset. I've got to take a hard line. I cannot be reviewing things in the middle of a race. And I'm not going to sit there and have arguments with people during the race. I'm going to be firm on our rules, and it's not going to be something that we can argue about. It's just, there's no way I can do that during a race. I cannot make those judgment calls during a race. It is what it is. So we had qualifying heat race 2 set by a die roll, and the die roll on this race was 10. So we inverted the field 11, and that put let me see here. It's qualifying heat race 2 start. To put Eric on the pole for this race, and we ended up with Nook winning, Steve second, Eric third, John, myself, Makoto, Zippy, I wish this thing would stay up longer, JT, Casper, and Adam, and then rounding out the rest of the field, it's really hard for me to track this while we're on the go here, it was Logan and Demon, and then of course Keith would get his attendance points, as did Bama for attending our third qualifying heat race, which we started the third qualifying heat race after a die roll invert of 5 this time, so we went 6 in the field, and that put Makoto on the pole for our third and final qualifying heat race of the night. And in that race, we saw the victory go to Eric in the Camaro, Steve in second, and then Demon in third in the Viper, Zippy in fourth, John in fifth, and myself, Casper, JT, Bama, who participated for the one race during the whole event, but still gets all of his attendance points because he was in here, as does Keith, gets all his attendance points because he ran the first race. And then Adam, Logan, and Makoto ran out of fuel on the last lap there, so unfortunately he had a little bit of an issue there with that. We had actually, in the first race, which I failed to mention, there were a lot of guys running out of fuel. The first race in the Cup cars, a lot of people ran out of fuel in the last lap. We had like 3 or 4 guys run out of fuel. So that was the main race qualifying, which set us up for main race 1, and our qualifying for the main race 1, what I call the MRQ, main race qualifying, saw Steve on the pole with myself in second, Eric, John, JT, Casper, Nook, Zippy, Demon, and Adam in the top 10, and then Logan, Makoto, and we had Angelo Nasty join us for these races, and he started there in 13th position. So we had 13 people in the room for the first main race. Now, this was set up as one race in 3 stages, so technically it's 3 races. So as our scoring goes, each stage you get scored for your event points as your average finish, but the points aren't paid out till the final stage because we were paying out bonus points in these stages. So in this particular race, after we lined up, this was stage 1. This was 60 laps. Some people had to pit twice. There were quite a few cautions in this one, but we saw Casper come away with the stage victory along with Nasty, Steve, Demon, and Makoto in the top 5. So they all got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 points, bonus points. And then Eric was 6th, Zippy 7th, myself 8th, John 9th, and Logan in 10th. And that was the last of the people that got bonus points. So Adam, Nook, and JT did not get any bonus points for stage 1. Stage 2, again, we did not do a die roll invert on this because it's technically the same race, even though we're calling them stages. Again, it's kind of confusing because in order to set the lobby up properly to do stages, I have to make them as a separate race. So that's why we're counting the average finishes of the 3 total for our event points. Again, our point system is bonus, event, and race points. So bonus points are being paid out again on stages. So when we lined up for stage number 2, we had Casper, who won the first stage, and then Nasty, Steve, and Demon, and Makoto. Then Eric, Zippy, myself, John, Logan, Adam, Nook, and JT. So at the end of this second stage, which paid out another 10 points, this was 40 laps. We had Demon bringing up the stage victory in his Viper, and then JT in second, Makoto in third, and Nasty in fourth, with Logan coming up in fifth. Casper finished 6th with John, Eric, oh come on, don't put this away. John, Eric, Adam, and Zippy rounding out the top 10. Myself, Steve, and Nook did not get any bonus points on this one. So we went into the final stage with that same lineup, which was our big money stage. It was 101 points to win this stage, and Zippy McGee came across with the win on this one. Again, as I mentioned early in the broadcast, I picked the wrong gear when I allowed everybody to change top speed on their transmissions. But I picked the wrong one in this one. I should have stayed with 340 I had in the first, and the 330 in the second was a little too tight. But Zippy McGee came across with the win at the end, and JT with a second place finish secured his overall win for the event. And he'll get that one bonus point for the championship bonus, as does Logan for Event 1. But then we had Demon finishing up third, a strong third there, and Steve, Nook, Eric, Adam, myself, Nasty, John, Makoto, Logan, and Casper. I think Casper had to make an extra pit stop right at the end, so that really cost him. He was actually running up pretty good. So our lone BMW fared well actually in the racing, but had some using a lot of fuel because he was running a really tall gear in it. So there's always that trade-off. That's why I allowed people to change gears, and I screwed myself with the gear change. I was really trying to run it to where I could run it in fifth gear when I was trying to catch, and I should have went up one more notch. Which live and learn, and came away with a okay finish, top 10 finish with everything. So final overall points. Final overall points here with. I'm not going to give you guys all the position, but I am going to give you the total points. So taking the overall event points was Josh Demon with 100, as he had the best overall average finish. Second was Steve with 97. Third was JT with 95. Fourth was Eric with 93. Fifth was Casper with 91. Sixth was Zippy with 90. Myself with 89. I gotta find 8 here. 88 was John. 8 is always easy to remember under event points is 88 points. 8th is 88 points. So 9th was Makoto with 87 on the event points. 10th was Nook with 86. 11th was Adam with 85. Logan was 12th with 84. Angelo Nasty with 83 was 13th. 14th was Cody, who ran one full race with us. And 15th was Keith with 81 points. He ran part of the first race, so he still got, because there was not that many in the first race, he still got a 12th place finish on that, even though it was a DNF. It doesn't matter if it's a DNF. Like I said, anybody that can come in and run with us, run one race with us. So you're going to get points for being there. I just want to see participation in my events, so that's why I'm giving out these attendance points. So if you're in any races at any of the event, you will get attendance points for it. And that includes our double events. You run one race in all the double events, you're going to get those attendance points. Again, I'm encouraging people to come in and not give up because you can't run every race. I understand that. This is a hobby e-racing challenge series, and that's why we rebranded to that. So a couple other things I wanted to mention here in this one. I didn't actually review the overall points. So overall points, JT picked up the overall win with 266 points. Nipping on his heels in second was Steve with 263 points. Third, we have a tie for third with Demon, Josh Carpenter, and Eric Carson, Mad Carson with 262 points. And sorry, I'm having a hard time. I really should have done a bigger font on this. And then fifth. Fourth was, I'm sorry, here we go. I get it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. It's weird because we got tie and I don't have this in numerical order right now. I'm trying to go back and forth. Okay, so fourth was Zippy with his win. He finished at 245 points. Myself was fifth with 238 points. Sixth with 233 points is both Adam and Angelo Nasty. Seventh was Nook Holmes with 232. Eighth with 230 points was John Hendrickman. Ninth was Makoto with 229 points. Again, we are within a few points of all these cars here. I mean, literally like 10 points separating like 5 spots. So we've got, then we got, after Makoto in 10th, at 224 points was Casper. And then 11th is Logan with 218 points. 12th went to Keith with 191 points. And Cody, who ran with us for one qualifying heat race, finishes 13th with 189 points. And again, Keith had more qualifying points. That's why he was above Cody Mack. He had more. He actually had some bonus points. Cody didn't have any bonus points because he did not participate in any events that had bonus points where he could score. So that's your standings for the race 1. Our next event again has been pushed back from the 22nd of April to the following week. So we basically got 3 weeks. It was originally going to be the 20th and the 19th and the 20th. Now it's the 26th and 27th. So again, 19th and the 20th was our original date. Now we've moved it back, and our Around the Earth event is going to be the 26th and the 27th, and that'll be at Autopolis, starting at Autopolis in Japan. Then we'll go to Barcelona in Spain, back over to Mount Panorama in Australia. And then I think we're going to come over to the west coast of the U.S. and run Big Willow in the, I want to save Road Atlanta for later in the year, so we're going to run Big Willow in the Hissers. So that should be a pretty fun race. The Hissers are fun to drive there because they're pretty well-controlled cars and balanced for the most part. So that's what we got going on. I'm going to end this stream. If anybody has any questions during my broadcast stream, I'm going to try to address those at the end because I want to keep broadcasting. But I will address when we go over and start playing the replays here of the Craftsman truck race. We will definitely stop and address those issues with the cautions and that. And again, the game doesn't allow for cautions. We have to actually add this in and administer it ourselves. So it makes things a little tricky, especially trying to race and do the cautions at the same time. I've asked the help of Steve and to help me administer as race control, and he did a good job making sure everybody was up to date when I was trying to sort everything out. So again, good fun racing though, regardless of the few little issues we had, and there was a lot of cautions in the first 2 qualifying heat races, but really by the final event we really didn't do too bad. Usually the cautions were caused by I think a lot of dirty air, and I think really with these cars you almost need to lift when you're behind somebody going into a corner, because if you're trying to push because these cars, you get a couple cars lined up and they just keep pulling away. But when you're trying to catch them, run them down, you got to just pound on the back bumper of that car. But gearing and all that really affects how well you can push somebody. Somebody that's got a shorter gear, they get out in front and they start engine braking. So you can only push them so much, but somebody's got a lower gear, somebody can come up behind, a taller gear, like say for instance, a 350 on the gear is going to do better in the draft than a 330 in the draft, is because the 330 is going to be at the higher RPMs. It's going to want to engine brake when it gets out there and slow the car down. But one that's not quite all the way in the power band, when you're pushing them, they can go faster, and then in turn you can go faster. So if you're behind them, so it's a game. It's a lot to learn. We learned a lot. We're going to have 2 more of these super speedway races, and we'll probably do the same format. Try to use these Craftsman trucks where we can, since everybody has one. And then we'll try to use these Cup cars where we can. We're going to have a couple of road course races with the Cup cars this year. Definitely going to be at Watkins Glen with the Cup cars. We'll definitely be back at Daytona at least at the end of the summer for the KingPittdawg Racing 500K. That's going to be the last race, or in the last part 1 or 2 of the championship event for the summer series. Probably be the last race. So we'll get all that squared away as we go through the season, though. But again, we added a bunch more Cup cars, and we added another one, which I think I'm actually still in. So this Corvette C7, which was a suggestion, and we were able to get it in under the numbers, but it's really super specific, and I'm not going to touch on that right now because I want to get over and get this broadcast started by 25 or 30 after, so that I can get this done here by 11 o'clock if I can. So again, that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream, and then I'm going to briefly introduce what we've done, and then we're going to be broadcasting Event 1 for sure tonight, and possibly both of them. But I think I'm going to stick to Event 1 tonight, and then probably run Event 2 tomorrow night. But we'll get in there, and again, this was RaceWeex at Daytona, which we're calling it for our HECS events here at Daytona in the first 2 weeks of the new season. And it'll be a little different because we got a little bit of a late start because we had to finish up the 23 season here at the beginning of 24 due to my internet issues I had going back to last summer. So we'll try to get that Event 1 done tonight. And if anybody has any questions, again, anybody that's listening that's in the series, I apologize I haven't been able to post it up. I'm trying to overhaul how I'm doing this to where I can just post you a PDF into the screen so you can actually download it and look at it. So that's what I'm going to do for now. That's why I didn't post up the events or the standings for the first race yet, because I'm working on trying to get that into a PDF and figuring out how I can get it into the PlayStation app. So we'll get that in. I'll try to if I don't get it tomorrow, I'll have it done Saturday because I've got a good start on my spreadsheet for doing that. And I think what I'm going to do is just put Spring Series, and I'm just going to do the full points instead of going through all. I wanted to list all the points, but if I can upload you guys my entire score sheet, then all I got to do is put the standings in. So I think that'll work, and I've got a new spreadsheet I started for doing the standings. So that's it for now. We'll see you around here in a few minutes. Again, it'll probably be about 5 minutes here. I want to get a drink and get all my things together, and we'll come in here and we'll run these like a regular TV broadcast. So thanks again, and we'll see you around here in just a bit. Until then, KingPittdawg